Chelsea, for a part 2. We didn't get through everything we wanted to talk about, and I'm just curious, Chelsea, how you been doing recently?
Well, since the last episode, I have been doing some exposures. For those who don't know what that is, graded. I believe, is it graded or gradient?
I don't know. That sounds like a rock
It's like a rock band gradient
gradient,
exposure.
that's like a gradient type of rock. I don't.
Well,
I'm not the smartest.
it,
Gradual,
it's
is that the word? Like
it might be great. I don't know. It's basically when it's like a therapy technique that's been around for several years. It's one of the best for agoraphobia, but it's basically it's exposing yourself. Well, not physically exposing yourself, but it's exposing yourself to your fear gradually and in a safe way. So, a lot of us, if we're dealing with that sort of thing. Oh, did it cut out or is it all good?
Oh, you're good.
Okay. A lot of us, we want to just like jump in and face our fears, and sometimes that works for a lot of people, but for a lot of us, it doesn't. So, kind of going out more, whether it's distance or whether it's time spent outside, just doing some of that. So, that's what I've been doing recently, and I know that you've been doing some of it as well.
Yeah, a few days ago I ended up going to the store, and I like getting into the car was super nerve-wracking. I was only going right down the street, but once I got there I was a little nervous, and
Mm.
I think after like a few minutes I felt okay, and then I sort of just like stood in the parking lot after and was just like taking it all in, feeling okay, like out in the world. And it was weird. There was like, a Burger King across the street, and I was like, I could just walk over there and get food. I didn't do that, of course, but like it felt nice to feel normal for a small amount of time. And yesterday we went to the park. I panicked, but like I didn't panic because of the park it's necessarily, which was good. So I still thought of it as success. I took my dog there. We swung on the swing and went down the slide. He didn't really like the slide, but it was just hot, and like I think if I went earlier in the morning or at night, that I would
Mm.
be more okay. So I was happy to, like, I thought of it as a success because it wasn't like about my anxiety or about being not at home. So it felt good. Yeah.
Yeah, I was really proud when I seen that you were able to go into the shop. What do you think it was that made you do it? Was there like a plan beforehand, or was it just more spontaneous?
Well, I feel with the group that we have that I've seen a lot of people try to, including you, go places or push themselves. And as a person who wants to be a helpful person, I thought, well, if they're doing it, I need to do it too. And I don't know if I said this last time, but I have beaten it before, and
Mm.
I know that the only way to do it is to, as you said, gradually, slowly, baby steps, push yourself in the right direction. Um, yeah, I'm just trying to get better.
Yeah, that's the thing as well with doing baby steps and sort of smaller goals. It can be frustrating because ultimately, if you are at a place with agoraphobia where you're wanting more and you're wanting to go out more and stuff, like you just want to get it over and done with. You just want to. Your goal is to go maybe to the shop, but in your mind you want to like go to a different country, sort of thing. And
Right.
it can be frustrating, and it can be, you just want to get ahead of it, but taking those steps is so important. And also registering in your mind that it's an accomplishment can be quite difficult as well, because I mean, like, we've both done that to each other as well. Like, I will have went down, just walking down the street or something, and I've came back and said, oh, I didn't really do that well, and you're like, but you still did it. And when I had said to you like that it was really good that you were able to go into the shop. You were like, oh, it's just down the road, like it's not far away, and I'm like, but you still did it, you know.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, you have to be able to sort of celebrate the small successes and not beat yourself up for it and be like, oh, I only did this. Like, no, you've still done something, and it's kind of hard to get into that mindset as well.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be proud of yourself. You have to love yourself and find motivations to keep going and pushing. And even if you fail, like I said with the park, I technically failed, but the fact that I went at all, the fact that I even had the thought to go, um, every little bit that you do is another success. You know.
Yeah, and I feel like it's important as well to understand that even if you do have a fail, so maybe it is that you're trying to walk to your front garden and that's a bit difficult for you. Maybe you don't make it to where you want to. Maybe it's like, oh, I'm just gonna go out here for 5 minutes and you only make it to three. That doesn't mean that you can't do it later on. That doesn't mean that you can't do it the next day or the next week. I feel like sometimes when we have those moments that we're like, oh no, we're back to square one, when we're absolutely not. It's okay. We've just gained experience from that. It's hard not to, you know, associate whatever you just did with that fear, but hey, you just need to overcome it again. You know, if you face it again straight away, it's not going to be as intimidating. Anxiety is about avoidance and habit and all that stuff, and you just got to break it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing, or at least for the beginning of trying to venture out or exposing yourself, is, at least for me, when this first happened to me, I didn't feel safe anywhere, not even in my house. I didn't feel safe in my body, so medication can help with that. Or I mean, I don't take medication, but it, it's hard, like, because if you don't feel safe in yourself, then it's hard to start anywhere. So I mean, the first step, most important, is to at least have a home base to start from. And I think me and you have that. We feel safe in our house with our safe people.
Mm-hmm.
We've established what safe means to us. So, if we walk 2 steps outside of our door, maybe we don't feel that great, but like we can always run back and start from zero instead of, chaos. Like we have a resetting point that,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's really important because I mean, I know for a fact that I have done that before, where you know I'll say to myself, I'm going to walk to the bus stop or something, and I'll walk over and maybe I have to turn back, and but I won't go straight into my house, you know, unless you know I'm actually having a panic attack rather than, you know, high anxiety. I would rather just sit in the garden because I'm still not inside, but I'm in a safer zone. You kind of calm yourself, do whatever you need to do, and then head back out. I feel like a lot of people feel like you only have that one opportunity to do something, but ultimately, I mean, I don't think there's maybe only been a handful of times where I've tried to do something again and it's not worked out, you know? So like if I say to myself, right, I'm gonna walk down the street and I'm gonna pet my neighbour's dog, who's the sweetest thing, and maybe I go down there and I'm kind of halfway there and I'm like, oh no, I can't do it. You know, I'll walk back slowly. That's what I've been working on, is not running. And, you know, just kind of like center myself and be in the garden, maybe pace around a bit, find a YouTube video, maybe call someone, and then I'll go back out and I'll be able to do it. And sometimes that's what it's about as well. I remember, you know, when I had a lot more freedom. Um, and when I had a good counselor, we would do that a lot, where we would drive to the location, and the first time it would be hell. I would be like almost running up the chair of the and the seat in the car, just trying to get away from everything and just freaking out. So we would go back home, sit for a minute, we might not even leave the car, and then go back. And that's something that's really important, as you know, that first time is just the first time. You try it again, keep going, but don't push yourself too much as well. That's another thing. Don't hassle yourself and push yourself way beyond your own boundaries, because you know mental health issues in general are so exhausting.
Everybody's got their limits.
Yeah.
I think for me, when I go out, like, I'm not scared walking forward. I reach a certain point where I think we've talked about it before, the invisible barrier
Yeah.
where I can't cross, or shit, I just did and now I'm too far away. And so
Yeah.
I think at that moment and on the way back, the walk back is way worse than the walk forward, because I just want to be at my, like, I'm scared and I want to teleport back to safety, and the time it
Yeah.
takes to get back to safety is the worst part of it for me. You sent me a video, well, I woke up to it, you squeezing your fists. I know I showed you that meditation or whatever about, like, squeezing your fists, and has that been working at all, or?
I think so, honestly. You know, I had walked down to the bottom of the street and was letting my dog sniff about, and you know, I started to get a bit fidgety and realized that I was, a bit far away. I really wasn't, but in terms of agoraphobia, yeah. And I remember just like wanting to run was my whole thing. Was just like just run and get back to the house as soon as you can. But I just started to like squeeze my fist and then focus on that feeling of the release, like you had said, and that actually helped. And I was able to just, you know, not even like fast paced walking. I was able to just kind of like walk back normally and kind of calm myself on the way back to the house. And so yeah, I think it did help. Um because naturally when you're anxious or something, you do tense up and things become a lot more difficult. And so actually like stretching or doing that where you release and relax your muscles, it can really help so much.
Yeah, because I mean, when your anxiety is so severe, you have physical symptoms. You know, it's hard to breathe, your heart's going. Sometimes I get this warm, tingly chill. I mean, it's sort of like just adrenaline and, just bad. I don't really know how to explain it, but just some bad chill throughout my whole body, where, I don't know, it just shoots up, and it's nice to be able to focus on something not scary that's also
Yeah.
physical, to, like, try to counteract, because in reality, usually when, maybe you come across a bear or something actually scary, all of your attention is on, you get this rush of adrenaline, but you're focused on the bear. Like, you're ready to fight, you're ready to, but all of your attention is on whatever it is physically um, happening. But when there's nothing there and it's just your mind, all of that energy doesn't know what to do with itself, and
Yeah.
you lose control. So it's nice to be able to focus on something physical that you're feeling, and to not be afraid about it. Was that the farthest you've been in a while, or
Yeah,
today?
I think so. um I spoke about my comfort zone and how it had shrunk, but it's definitely I'm wanting, to get back out there. And so today was a really good day for me. And I know that because I am in pain from walking. Which is something that we spoke about last time, was like the physical side of things, obviously not being used to walking and doing the distance and stuff. So that was like a reminder to me that, like, oh, I have been doing good and just trying to go out. But yeah, that was definitely the farthest that I've been for a while. So it felt really good. That's another thing I spoke about, was the chasing that success feeling and that really good feeling. It's so worth it afterwards.
Yeah, I've been thinking I need to train, like that this is the fight of, of my life or our lives, and all I do is drink soda and smoke cigarettes and eat bad food, but I really think I need to start, trying to, cuz I feel sticky all the time, all the soda I drink, and I just feel like crap. And I think if I tried to replace some of those sodas with some water and maybe some good food and started exercising, I'd be ready, because when we do eventually break out and go out, we're going to get tired pretty quick because we're not used
Yeah,
to moving. So we
yeah.
probably should at least be training, for the big fight at home in our safe place. Um, I'm curious because we didn't get to this last time, but well, no, actually, before I get into that, were you proud today?
Honestly, yeah, it was. It was. It's kind of I feel like it's normal whether it's like a cultural thing or just a human thing in general to not feel good about yourself. It's almost as if you say something nice about yourself, you have to humble yourself and go back to being self-deprecating and stuff. Um, but I did. I felt really really good, and I was like, I'm so glad that I did that. I sent you a video of those massive daisies. They're absolutely huge, and it wasn't even in my plans to actually walk down that way. I was just I'd walked by myself, which I was told not to do by my counselor, but I'm a badass but I was like, do you know what, I'm just gonna do it. Like, the weather's ideal. When you were talking about it being too warm and stuff, that can definitely affect how you are in general. But just sort of saying to myself, like, I'm gonna go and do this, and doing it within the first thought was really great, because that's not something that happens to us often. We overthink, and I feel like if we're given too much time, so say if someone's it says to you, okay, I'm gonna come over in an hour, for that whole hour that you're waiting for them, you have just overthought miles and miles of things. Whereas if it's in the first couple of seconds, you don't have that time to overthink it. You don't have that. If you just go off the impulse, sometimes that can really help. So being able to do that and walking back, especially when my safe person wasn't there, I was like, fuck yeah, fucking did it.
That's good. Yeah, I think at least I've noticed since we've been in our group or whatever that all of us overthink everything, and
Mhm.
that makes a lot of sense. Like I always get nervous that I'm like being annoying in the group or whatever, but we all overanalyze literally everything, and
Yeah.
I meant you mentioned the heat and that the weather was good, and think as well as exercising. I just had the idea right now, but I hate being hot, and it's freaking super hot outside. But potentially, I could just walk out my front door, take 2 steps, and just expose myself to the heat. Still feel safe because I'm close, but um, get my body used to it. And at the same time, the only time my heart rate ever goes crazy is when I'm panicking. But
Mhm.
normal people exercise, like having your heart rate go up doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing or even a scary thing. So I think another thing potentially is to, yeah, definitely exercise and make, when your heart rate does go up, well, I'm used to this. I felt this before, and maybe
Yeah.
it won't scare you as much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, the other thing I was gonna ask that I didn't ask last time was your symptoms, like when you first experience a panic attack, or just what sort of symptoms do you get during, anxiety or panic in general?
Mm. Well, I would say, of course, there's a difference between the feeling of high anxiety or being anxious and then actually being in a panic attack. So when I'm when I'm anxious, I definitely tense up. I feel that I used to like really shake, especially like just one leg would be shaken out of my own control. Um I think, the heart racing is definitely one that I feel. Sometimes it's dizziness. Sometimes I feel I don't ever like hyperventilate or anything like that, but I feel I'm conscious of my breathing, I would say.
Mm.
And I'm very like I need to like fidget, and yeah, I think for the physical, a new physical sensation that I've been going through when I'm anxious is like retching, like feeling like you're gonna be sick. And I suppose I should maybe put a warning for anybody that has a phobia of that. I know that I've spoke with people and I've been like, oh, I'm gonna be sick, and they're like, oh, oh my god, don't say that. um, I'm not scared of that though, so it's whatever when that happens. But generally, when I'm anxious, I just want to curl up in bed and hide. But when I'm having an actual panic attack, I would say, that same tingly feeling that you're talking about definitely happens. The shaking, the heart racing. Sometimes, you feel like your throat getting your mouth getting dry. Um, the big one for me, the scariest is the derealization and depersonalization and the dissociation. That is one that I would say it doesn't happen all the time that I'm anxious, thank God. But if it's a really bad panic attack, that's usually what's happening. So it's like all you have your physical body symptoms, which had explained to me. I got a really good sheet from a counselor about what your body goes through and why, and obviously it's an evolutionary thing of fight or flight, and why your body does what it does. But when it is just all in your mind, and that's when it would be the derealization, the depersonalization, and the dissociation. That's really terrifying. Is that ever something that you've experienced?
So, derealization, I don't know if I know the correct definition of that. Do you know what derealization is?
Probably better to Google
Well,
it.
from what I understand, it's like thinking that, and I could be completely wrong, but it's nothing is real. That this isn't
Yeah.
real, and the only time I've ever experienced that was when I tried VR for the first time, and I like was in it for too long, and I like looked down at my arm afterwards, and I was like, Is this real? Is and
Oh yeah.
the fact that I could think that made me think like, you know, for all we know, this is a simulation. There's so yeah, I've had those thoughts before, but only I think that's understandable to have those thoughts after you use a VR for the first time. But
Yeah, I would not be able to use one of those because that would just completely freak me out.
I
It really is. It's like the way that I used to describe it when I was younger, and what made this even scarier for me was I would tell doctors about it. I'd be like, it feels almost like you're in a dream or you're in a trance. It's not that you're fearing that you're dead. It's like you feel like you already are. Nothing feels real. And they would just look at me with a blank expression, and I'd be like, oh, okay, so I'm crazy. you know? Um, but yeah, eventually, and it was from a random Facebook group that had nothing to do with mental health in general. That I explained like in the comments of something, that feeling, and this really nice girl messaged me and said, "Oh, this is what's happening to you because this is what happens to me," and that's when I started to look into what it all was. So it really is like you just don't feel real. Sometimes you don't. It's like you recognize where you are. You know where you are, but you don't necessarily recognize it. You don't recognize the people that you're with, even though you still know who they are. It's such an intense, horrible feeling, and it usually, I would say for me, it's a lot more. I'm more vulnerable to that feeling if I've not slept well, if I haven't slept enough, if I'm really tired. Um, and it's honestly so scary, and it really adds on to everything. everything that you're physically going through. Um, and yeah, it's the worst.
I think that sounds like. I mean, I've never had that, but it sounds like what brain fog would be like on steroids. You know.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes when I'm anxious, especially like if I'm in a car or whatever, which is like one of my number one triggers. And
Mm.
just for the record, we did get a comment saying, I feel like temperature, hot and cold, can trigger anxiety. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, like if I get too
Yes.
hot, absolutely. But yeah,
For me, it's always the heat.
yeah, and in the car in Arizona, it gets really hot, and when I'm in that state, I do sort of get brain fog because I feel like normally if someone says something to me, I usually know how to respond to it pretty quickly. Like
Yeah.
even if it's like a question or whatever, I'm usually I have an answer instantly. And when I'm in an anxious state, um, the fact that I can't answer right away, since I'm so used to it, freaks me out. It's like I can't think properly or
Yeah.
whatever, and that like scares the shit out of me. So like when I'm in the car, I can't talk to anyone really because I'll
Mhm.
just freak out. Yeah. For me, when like if I'm just feeling anxious, I'll try to talk to people for one
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not alone, or at least if I'm about to die, someone is watching and can help me. If I can't do that, then yeah, I'll crawl into my bed and hide and cry and all that shit. But um, with a panic attack, though, I think I feel like a jolt of energy um, somewhere in my body, probably my heart or my chest, and I
Mhm.
feel like I move in a direction and I'm not actually moving, but I feel like I'm moving, and I feel like my body's swaying, and I'm losing balance,
Oh yeah, that's quite trippy.
and my heart starts going. But I think the number one trigger is for me, like just like if I'm at my house and then somehow I have a panic attack in my safe place, it's that I'm focusing on my breathing and thinking I'm not getting a good enough breath, so I, think about it more and make it
Yeah.
worse. But I'll start tapping my chest, like if my heart starts going, I'll start like beating my chest like a gorilla almost, but like not with two hands, but just like trying to make myself believe that it's the tapping in my hands. It's not my heart that's going crazy. I'll try to like psych myself back to um, not freaking out.
Mm.
The only other thing I'll do, like if I'm having a panic attack, just squeeze as hard as I can, or try to not be alone. Like if Journey's around, I'll yell for Journey, my wife, or I'll try to call someone. My panic attacks, it's weird. They don't last that long. Like my
Yeah.
longest panic attack has probably been like 10 seconds. Like I've been anxious and afraid for long periods of time, but a full blown, hard to breathe, heart's going, it's only lasted 10 seconds. But the amount of fear, and potentially there was a couple that lasted more than 10 seconds, but usually the amount of fear that I experienced during that very short amount of time makes me so terrified to ever feel it again that I avoid
Yeah.
all things that could ever lead to that. And
Yep.
that's agoraphobia right there, the fear of fear itself. And you know
Yeah. I have a So my diagnosis is a panic disorder. It's a generalized, severe generalized anxiety disorder, and severe agoraphobia. Anything else severe that they wanted to throw in, they could have. But um, so yeah, it basically just can come out of nowhere, which is really frustrating. But there's always a trigger. So what is like some of your triggers, for example?
well, my number one trigger is being alone, um being in a car or being too far away. um as I said, if I feel like I can't breathe, which I always can. um I don't know. Like if I eat food and then I later realize maybe I checked the expiration date and it was a day off, or just something really like stupid that would be fine. Maybe
Mhm.
I'll force myself to throw up, or I'm just
Yeah.
very um, protective, or I don't know. I'm kind of, I mean, that might be the wrong way to say it, but I'm kind of a pussy, Like, some parts of me think of myself as I'm just like a coward, and I should just, I don't know. I avoid fears a lot, and I know that just makes them bigger,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I'm definitely my own worst enemy.
Yeah. Can relate to that. For me, I mean, we were just talking about the heat. That can be a trigger. Being alone, like yourself. I mean, you know how much I struggle with that. Um.
You also mentioned nighttime.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So like usually anxious people, they prefer the nighttime, and I think that's because during the day, especially if you think of like a Monday morning, it's filled with responsibility. So perhaps it's a person that doesn't deal with agoraphobia and they've got work and stuff, or during the day anyone can pop in. It's just a quiet time. Everybody likes the night. Usually people like the winter as well. I am the complete fucking opposite. Like, and it never used to. So like, for example, if I'm in my safe place, my safe people around me, it never used to be too bad. But at the same time, like, I wouldn't go out at night and stuff like that, just because I don't know. Maybe it's because I had like my first huge panic attack outside when it was night. But for me, I hate it. Winters, especially in Scotland, are so long. Um, it's like it doesn't get light until 9 in the morning, and then it's light until like 4 in the afternoon, and then the rest is darkness. And I mean, shit, I still sleep with the light on. I don't care. I used to have night terrors when I was younger. And I never used to, like, my mom and dad would not turn my light off because I would freak the fuck out. But yeah, nighttime was being alone. It was too warm. If I feel like I'm stuck in a situation, I suppose that's agoraphobia as well related. Always wanting an escape and to be in control. Um, Tiredness. Certain topics as well can be um what's the word, anxiety provoking.
Triggering.
Yeah, like even like certain songs. I know that's something that me and one of my best friends relate to. Like, certain songs can make us anxious, or I guess it's the same way. It's like a trigger song for some people to like be depressed and stuff. Like, there's so many little things, and I've spoken to you before about the kind of overlap with. I don't have OCD, thankfully, and I feel for anyone out there that suffers with that. But I do have little OCD things. So like, if I don't, say for example, if I was to walk into the kitchen and we've run out of something, that would drive me crazy. I would like panic so much because of that. I There always has to be one left of something, and stuff like that. There's a lot of like little things that I'm probably forgetting, but yeah, there's like so many triggers, and I think also knowing your triggers can help, because if you begin to panic, you can say, okay, I'm panicking because of this. Sometimes having an answer can help, and you can sort of rationalize your thoughts. That's something that my boyfriend's really good at when I'm freaking out. So to use an example, the other day I walked into the kitchen and there wasn't enough milk, and I was like, "Oh my god, I am going to die. There's not enough milk, and I can't go down to the shop to get it. No one takes me seriously. Why can't I?" And my dad's like trying to rationalize it and be like, "Listen, you could have like 3 glasses of milk out of that." Hi, Kit. Who's this?
Oh, that's my kitty.
Oh my god. Hi. People can see, can't they?
No.
Oh,
But
okay.
that's
Well, a
okay.
cat.
There's a kitty for
There's a
anyone
cat that
who
does what
wondered.
kids. Oh my god, his little face. I used to be really scared of cats before I met my boyfriend, but now I love them.
But like you were saying, with knowing your triggers, I think that's what helped me with the park is that I could put that on. It was hot out, like
Yeah.
and that made it so like, oh well, I can just do it when it's not hot out and it's not the park. It's this, you know.
Hmm.
You mentioned night and day, that you prefer the day. I prefer the night because, I've always been a gamer. I never really went to school. I was up all night playing games.
Mm.
I find it peaceful. No one's awake. I can do whatever I want. I can, it's just freedom. I used to walk the streets at night, growing up. Like, go to my friend's house middle of the night or whatever. Those walks were really peaceful. Obviously can't do that now, but
Mm.
and, there's always a thought of, like, maybe there's a sketchy person out that's gonna hurt me or whatever. But I never thought like that back then. But, when I'm at
Mm.
home nowadays, night is peaceful, quiet. I can think clearly. My wife's here. She's asleep. If I really need to, I could wake her up and, have her calm me down. But, I never feel the need to because I know I have the ability to if I needed to, but um, the day is just so busy. As you said, Monday
Yeah.
morning people have to go to jobs, and I feel the only problem with a night schedule for me is I get depressed because I know if I'm ever to get better, I need to face my fears in the day, and I'm not confident enough to go out by myself. So if I am going to start facing any fears, it's gonna have to be during the day. So at night, everything feels um, hopeless, and like what once was peaceful has now turned into, I'm never gonna get better,
Yeah.
and like fixing your sleeping schedule for me, it takes like 4 days. Like
Yeah.
my body wants to be awake at night, so sometimes in the middle of the night I'll just get this burst of energy that's like, we're awake, let's play games, let's not go to sleep, and my thoughts are racing, and but I've had a early morning schedule for the past few weeks, and I've been keeping it, which is good. I've
Mm.
started to go out a little bit more, um, which is good. I'm starting to, you know, I, I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but I started to paint my mom's shed or whatever. I try to find something to hyper focus on.
Yeah.
That's
Distraction keep you
yeah,
busy.
that's positive. So I wonder, do you have any like creative outlets that you do or something like that?
um. So yeah, I. Oh my god, my mind just went completely blank there, as if I didn't, as if I don't know what I get up to. I like to play with makeup. Um. So on Christmas, not last year, but I think it was maybe the year prior, or maybe it was my birthday, I can't remember. Um, my best friend got me like a bunch of makeup palettes and stuff. And um the thing as well is I always felt like I kind of had to sort of hide my personality a bit. But my boyfriend is really supportive, so I could like do whatever I wanted with my makeup and I didn't feel like I had to be a certain way. So that was like really fun, just experimenting with different looks and like, I bought like wigs off of Amazon and just having the time of my life. This is what happens when you like can't go out, people.
Right.
You buy wigs off of Amazon and put on me. I also so that was like a creative outlet for me. I think, also being on on games, like, so I'm not gonna lie, I do play Fortnite and I'm in creative mode making little things up. Also on GTA, you get director mode. Um, I got Sims as well, which was really good to sort of play with that and make up your own stuff. I like singing, So that would be like something I would like just try and make up songs while I'm doing the dishes or something like that. But also drawing, I really got back into that, and I also started to write stories. It was like just like little parodies and stuff. And I did that on Wattpad for a few years, and people really liked it. And that also, I feel like having a creative outlet is really important as well, especially if you're going through a dark time. I think because like you and I, we do like to help people. And I remember, writing these daft stories, and having people like comment about how much it made them laugh and stuff like that was really important. It made me feel good, and being able to make yourself laugh and all that kind of stuff, and doing something, even if it's like drawing the most bubblegum princess picture or something like that, when you're feeling terrible, and then looking back on it, it gives you something to be proud of, and it's also part of productivity. For those of you who can't see, his cat is so beautiful. It's jumping around right now, stealing all my focus and attention.
Well, what you were talking about made me think of a story that I haven't thought of in a long time, but um, a long time ago, whatever, back in the day, when I was in school, I was in a creative writing class, and every week or every so often, school's kind of it's a long time ago. I don't remember too much, but I remember we all used to like have to write, short stories or stuff like that, and like he would print out copies and everyone would read each other's like short story. Um, and when it was my turn, like everyone to read my story, I just heard all the laughs, like everybody
Mhm.
was laughing, and that just felt so good. Like, um, I kept right. I wrote this like short story about going to McDonald's, and um, now that I think about it, I want to kind of try to remember what happened, but um, we were going because in high school I would go to McDonald's every day. That was just something me and my friends did. Um,
American things.
yeah, American. But yeah, I wrote a story about like, and there was also a lot of homeless people in that area. But I wrote a story that there was like a bunch of homeless people like walking towards us, almost like a zombie horde. And we started running, and we got to the parking lot or whatever, and we lit this ring of fire around us with like, for some reason we had gas and a lighter or whatever. And God, I don't really remember the whole story, but I just remember like they were just asking for change. I don't know. It sounds stupid right now, but like back then, I'm obviously missing every detail in the world, but just the things that I wrote were so. Obviously, I'm not gonna say them because I'm like a different guy now, but they were so. I don't know if crude is the right word, crude and offensive. Like, um,
Problematic.
yeah, sometimes the teacher would read the stories and he would be like, someone else needs to read this. I literally can't say this out loud. And it turned into, he would write on the board. He would say, it's Michael Story Friday. So every Friday, they would just like read my stories out loud. Um,
Oh, that's really cool.
yeah, I felt so cool. Like, I don't know. But I've always liked writing. Well, I don't know. I think a lot, and when I sit down and put my thoughts, to the paper or whatever, write my thoughts down, I really get into it and it feels really good. It's hard to motivate myself to get into that
Mhm.
mode, but once I do it, I go to, and I enter a whole nother world, and it feels really good, and I should probably start doing it again.
Mm. It's always recommended in counseling and therapy. Like, if you can draw, and you should write down your thoughts and stuff, and because even though it's not a poem, it can be quite poetic, and I feel like also, a couple of years ago when I was, really depressed and I was in a dark place, and I would write down everything that was sort of going on, just keep a diary. And looking back on it now, and that's another reason why I knew that I had progressed and that I was a lot better in life, was reading back at that and being like, oh my God, I want to help myself, I want to give myself a hug. And it's good to write down things along your agoraphobic journey, and being like, okay, this is how I felt. And being able to look back and see the places that you came from as well is so important. So whether it is that you're keeping a diary, or if you're doing like creative writing, maybe you're taking inspiration from what's going on in your life at the moment, it can be really, really helpful.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned you make maps on Fortnite, and I loved doing that. Like Minecraft, Fortnite, just building your own world.
Yeah.
I really get into it, and you know, it, it's a double-edged sword for me because video games, everything can be addictive,
Yeah.
and when I spend too much time staring at a screen or being in another, sometimes video games, if you're really into it, it feels like you're there and you just exist in another place, and it really helps the avoiding aspect of anxiety,
Yeah.
but it's definitely like it's good to feel good sometimes, obviously,
Mm.
but I tend to take
Balance.
things way too far, and it ends up
Yeah.
hurting me.
Yeah, you have to have balance, and because it's good to have a distraction. That's one of my best techniques, is to be distracted, and to be involved with that. But you do have to sort of balance yourself. I was wondering, um probably not, because you said that you've never really dealt with like depersonalization, but I remember, that was such a big trigger for me.
What is depersonalization?
Oh, I meant to say derealization.
Oh, okay, right.
Depersonalization is like if you look in the mirror and don't recognize yourself and stuff, which, I mean, I've experienced that before. But so like I remember, I've said like I used to play Sims a lot, and it would be on build mode. However, if I was to like actually play the Sims, that would sometimes trigger that whole like dissociation and all that kind of stuff. Oh, that was
Yeah,
insane.
definitely don't
So
play VR,
no, I couldn't. I could.
even though it's fun.
But I mean, playing games and stuff also helped me to make friends, and find other people. I mean, we played a game, and I won, by the way.
Mm, I don't know if that's how it happened, but
But I mean, you won that, but you definitely won in the creative mode, showing me yours and your wife's creations were absolutely amazing.
yeah, I ain't seen nothing, to be honest, but thanks.
But yeah, so being able to, you know, play the games and stuff like that, that's how I was able to meet people as well, and that kind of combated the loneliness that agoraphobic people we deal with. That was really beneficial to me.
I think I learned all my social skills playing video games. Like obviously I went to school and had
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hold on a minute.
maybe not all, but
Because that would make you a terrible person.
no, I think I'm pretty good, or
No, but I mean, like, if you think about it, if you think about your interactions, especially on a highly competitive
well,
game.
I like to talk a lot of shit, but I think I'm nice. I know where it's welcomed or allowed. Um, but obviously I went to school. I was bullied as a kid. And I think I dropped out of school, but before I dropped out, I was all right. I was friends with everybody, but I wasn't super popular. Um, but I spent a lot of time smoking weed and playing video games before anxiety, and um, I you know I made friends, and we had to figure out super difficult puzzles where everyone had to be perfectly aligned and in the right spot and communicating correctly, and we had fights that we had to figure out and problem solve, and where this person's not that great, so maybe he should stand here, and this person's good at that, so maybe we should put him over here. I actually had I don't know if you've ever heard of Destiny, the game, but I had a clan in that game. There's like 1,000 people in it, and just I was an asshole, to be honest, but we got shit done, and I don't know. I've calmed down a lot since then. Like, I was like a damn drill sergeant. Like, if you're not doing the right thing, see you later. Um, like they could ask the wrong question and I would kick them. Like, that was a dumb fucking question. You're out of here. So yeah, I was probably mean. Video games, toxic. But I calmed down. After filtering through all the noobs or terrible gamers. I made friends, and I didn't want to
Mm.
be mean to my friends anymore. So I calmed down a lot. I went from Destiny to Fortnite, and it was more of a chill, game. You didn't really have to think too much. But
I'm
I've
sorry, did you just say?
say what? You there, Chelsea?
Oh, it keeps cutting out.
Oh, did it cut out?
Yeah, I said. Did you say Fortnite's a chill game?
So compared to having like with Destiny, there's raids, and everyone has to be doing a certain thing at a certain time.
Yes,
And if
it's more
someone,
than just combat.
yeah, and it gets really difficult. And, like, think of 6 people trying to drive one car. It's hard. But, like, Fortnite, it doesn't matter as much. Like, you die, new game, you die, new game. This, you're actually, like, trying to accomplish something, this progression, I don't know. It's different. But yeah, Fortnite for me was chill. Like, obviously, Fortnite can be completely chaotic and crazy, but like if I die, maybe I'm into that game and I'll get mad for that second, but back to the next game, back to the next game, back to the next game,
Yeah.
and like, you know, I don't know. With Fortnite games, so growing up, I always liked Halo. I didn't
Mm.
like Call of Duty that much. I liked zombies, but like Call of Duty, you can camp in the corner of the shotgun and kill someone in a second. Like, the first person who sees the person usually gets the kill in Call of Duty.
Mm.
But Halo and Fortnite, if you shoot me in the back, if I'm better than you, I can turn around and I will win that fight every time. So, in my
Yeah.
opinion, Fortnite, Halo, way more skill than Call of Duty type of games. So, yeah, I mean, I'm really evasive. I'm not the best shooter, but I try to outsmart my opponents. So yeah, being able to rely on myself rather than a full team of like everyone has to be doing a certain thing at the same time, and it was a lot easier. I mean, it's always easier to rely on yourself. Other people can make it difficult. I mean, unless they're better than you, which is rarely the case for me. But anyways, um,
Speaking on relying on others, how do,
yeah,
do
well, I
you like
guess
that
I
segue?
we do. Yeah, we do rely on others a lot with this agoraphobia for sure.
Yeah. So you have two safe people, right?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
For me, yeah. For me, I have my three safe people, but when you were sort of entering this, we'll call it phase with agoraphobia, was there a lot of friends or people in your life that just didn't understand or get it?
So I didn't really have a lot of people in my life at that time. I didn't even get it, right? Like the first
Mm-hmm.
3 years of having it, I thought I was dead. Like I remember recording several goodbye messages. I
Oh
still have
wow.
them on my phone. Like, I'm sorry, I love you, I'm gonna be watching you through the moon, like shit like
Mm.
that. And I didn't really have a lot of friends at that point in my life other than online anyways. So most of my friends growing up, I like, they were all pot smokers and party or whatever's. And I've been clean for 12 years. So when I stopped doing that, I sort of lost touch with probably all of my physical friends basically. And
Mhm.
so I already had friends in the online area, and those were my actual and only friends. But actually, it did affect my friendships because, as I said, I was a clan leader of the Destiny whatever, and we would raid together and play together and strategize whatever. But when it first started happening to me, I got so dizzy to where I couldn't even watch TV or look at the screen, and
Yeah.
that affected me a lot. The last raid that we really did together, that we were like a solid team. We did stuff after, but it just wasn't as together. But the last one that I did was actually when anxiety was first happening to me, and for the first time, I couldn't lead. I couldn't tell people what to do, where to go. My brain was super foggy and dizzy, and I was barely holding on. I was now a foot soldier, and the people that I had trained the entire time, or um, played with me, now had to take the reins. And honestly, so it was terrible. The dizziness of it. It was like a maybe a 12-hour raid, because when the raids come out, they're super hard. We're trying to be the first to beat it in the world, stuff like that. But um, it was horrible because I felt like shit and felt like I couldn't, you know, lead. But at the same
Yeah, it
time,
was something that you're used to.
yeah, and at the same time, everyone that I got, like I had the best of the best. I had my team, and them taking the reins, and us being successful in the end felt so good. So
Mhm.
it was good and bad. But yeah, after that raid, I sort of stopped playing because of my dizziness and stuff like that, and I lost touch with a lot of my friends. A lot of them went to PlayStation. We were on Xbox. Funny enough, there was a second raid after they switched to PlayStation. We ended up beating them. It was one best. Hard to describe, but best gaming experience of my life. Those traitors. But anyways, yeah, it's definitely affected my friendships. Obviously, not in a normal way because my friendships were online anyways. Um,
Mm.
but like the idea of going somewhere. I mean, it's definitely affected my relationship with my wife. When I first met her, I had a job, and she didn't, which is definitely not how it is now. But I, you know, bought her food. We went places. I remember if she needed something, that I could go get it for her. Um,
Yeah.
it hit me like a month into our relationship, and I just became a vegetable, at least for the first month. And um, I have no idea why she stayed with me, but yeah, it definitely affected my relationships. What about
Mm.
you?
Well, I'm just about to say, well, you just got married.
Yeah, yeah. Somehow I talked her into it. I don't know. I was like, I know I can't do much, but I love you. You know, hopefully that's enough.
Well, I mean, that I feel like your story with your wife is really important for people to hear, because I constantly see in the agoraphobic groups of people talking about being lonely, and how do others get into relationships and stuff. And
So I
I
am
think
sorry if you have something to say it for
no,
sure.
no, no, go on.
So I am brutally honest with every person that I talk to. Not brutally, I tend to know
Mm.
my audience, but if I feel like I can tell someone something, I will tell them everything. So every
Mm.
feeling, every thought I've ever had, I've always told my wife everything. She knows everything I do. Obviously, that can be a bad thing, but I tend to think that if someone knows you, all of you, and can accept you for who you are, that that's what love is. And if you have to hide
Mm.
yourself, if you were to tell your partner that thing that you're afraid of them knowing and they wouldn't like you, well, that's not good in itself. You should really, like, if Journey didn't love me, it would break my heart. I would probably be destroyed. But in the back of my mind, and this is how I've got over exes in the past, like, I have the idea in my head that she loves me unconditionally, and I do love her unconditionally. But if that were to
Mm.
change, if she were to not love me anymore, or, um, it's the same reason why I don't get worried if she goes and hangs out with her friends. I used to get worried all the time in relationships that, oh my God, what if they cheat on whatever? If that's the
Mm.
person they are, then the person I'm in love with, that I love, that person doesn't even exist. They're
Mm.
not the unconditional love that I thought they were. And that's helped me a lot with like being jealous or worrying all the time. I'm going to be me, and I'm going to be as good and as honest as I possibly can be. And if that's enough, then perfect. But if it's not, it ain't my fault. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, I often think of myself as a burden, and that I'm not pulling my weight financially, and but I have to consider her thoughts as well. If she thinks that I'm enough, if she loves
Mm.
me and I'm obviously not working, and I'm limited in what I can do, if that's enough for her, I have to respect it. Like, I love her more than anything,
Mm.
and you know I know that I want to be better for her, but
Yeah.
there are those thoughts of I'm less, she deserves better. But in the end, I do believe that love is the most powerful thing in the world, and this, if me is who she loves, well, I'm not gonna give up and just you shouldn't be with me because I'm not good enough for you. I'm
Yeah.
going to, I already love her. I'm halfway there, and it's a motivator if anything. So
Yeah.
guys, you mentioned people are alone in this, anxiety, especially with agoraphobia. How are you supposed to get a date? I could actually help you with that, by the way, guys. Um, that was supposed to be a joke, but anyways, I mean it's true. I mean I have the strategies. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
yeah, don't think of yourself as a burden. Like, I don't know, just try to be honest with your partner. Don't hide things from them. If they can't take it, or they don't like you anymore, well then they don't like you. Like, you're not
Mm.
don't live another life. Don't lie to yourself. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, but
Yeah. No, that
if that
that
makes
that makes
sense.
sense. I mean, I feel like when you're in the dating scene and stuff, you want to put your best foot forward all the time, and I feel like that's something that a person that has a physical condition can relate to with a mental health condition, is like, oh, how do I tell this person that I have this thing going on, that that means that I can't do this, or you get in your head about it. I mean, when I first started talking with my boyfriend, I was like straight up gave a disclaimer and been like, "Oh, here, by the way, like I'm agoraphobic. I'm pretty much housebound. Like, you know, that's the way I am." And I feel like if you go into a situation with making friends or relationships, and you don't tell that person, you're also going to put a lot of pressure onto yourself, where you're like making like false promises of like, oh yeah, we're gonna meet up and go swimming, and like you're absolutely terrified and you're canceling on that day. It's probably better just to be honest and be like, hey, I can't go swimming because I can't, you know, I've never been to that area before, and these are my only safe spaces, and or whatever, whatever your limitations are and stuff. It's better to just put it out there immediately so that that person knows, because I just feel like if at the same time it's kind of hard to do that, to be vulnerable. But if you don't view it as a vulnerability and you're just like, here's where it is and here's where I hope for it to be, then it's ultimately, it's like take it or leave it sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think you should be honest about everything that you can be. There's certain situations where
Mm.
maybe you shouldn't tell them that you just, had a poop or whatever, but um, as I said, with, like, if someone were to cheat on me and, potentially they didn't love me unconditionally as I thought they were, that I was in love with someone, I was in love with an idea, not who they actually are.
Mm.
That's sort of the same if you lie. If you don't tell, people about your anxiety or your situations, they're gonna fall in love with this person that they think is absolutely perfect. Like if you don't show your
Yeah.
flaws, they're gonna be bamboozled. I like that word.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Bamboozled.
they're gonna be fooled. They're gonna be tricked into thinking that you're someone that you're not, and that may feel good during the time where you've successfully tricked them, affection and physical touch and all that. But if you want something that's actually lasting, you need to be you, because if they don't love you, well then there's nothing there, and
Yeah.
there's no reason never not to be yourself if you're pursuing something real that you want to last. Like obviously, if I'm talking to a cop and I just robbed the bank, and they're like, it wasn't me, like there's situations where maybe it's probably best for you to lie. But if you're trying to create something real, you need to be you.
Yeah. And it's also like, if you're around people that don't understand or aren't willing to understand, then like fuck them.
Fuck them. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Like, I remember feeling that way of like, oh, how do I tell him? And I told him, and he was like, oh, okay, yeah. And like we've been together for 3 years. So, but he was one of the first people that I had met, that was like new in my life from when I had started with this diagnosis. And a lot of people that were in my life prior to that, they met me with no understanding. They were frustrated for themselves and not for me. If you're wondering what all that ruckus is, it's my dog that's just come in.
Hmm.
Nice guy. Yes, I'm talking about you as well. um but yeah, there was like a lot of people that just didn't get it at all. And they would, those, I remember at the time like feeling so bad for those people that had to put up with me. And it's like, no, those people are just arseholes. Like they're not willing to understand their friend. Because I feel like if there was some sort of issue with one of my friends or one of the people that I cared about, or say like for example, like if, and I joke about this a lot with my boyfriend, like if he was suddenly put into a wheelchair, if he got hit by a car, I would, like, if that wouldn't affect me at all, I would be pushing him. Or like if one of my friends had suffered like a breakdown, and all of a sudden they were absolutely terrified by the sight of a couch, I would cover mine up in blankets so that they couldn't see it. You know, like there's so much that I would do for another person that I care about in order to help them with whatever their condition is. What if they're not willing to do that for you, then they don't care about you at all. But it's also about being realistic in terms of like, if you are with your friends and they want to go and do something, like they want to go on holiday and you can't do that, don't leave it until they're at the airport waiting for you to be like, oh yeah, by the way, I can't do that. you know
Most people are normal. Not Maybe not necessarily perfectly normal. What is normal? But most people don't have agoraphobia. So,
Yeah.
people may get scared, and I mentioned the bear or whatever, but there's like actual reasons to be scared other than anxiety, things that you can see with with your eyes. if you've never experienced it, and I didn't before 6 years ago when it first happened to me, people would say to me all the time, like they would cancel plans. So I have anxiety, and I'd be like, what is that? Like, you're nervous? I'm your friend. What do you mean you're nervous? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it if you've never felt it before, you cannot understand. Like, maybe you could sit someone down and try to describe this to them, but
Yeah.
like, it's an impossible thing to understand. It's invisible. And, it as much as it's in your head, people say that all the time. Oh, it's just in your head. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's true. It is in my head. Um, but the feelings that I'm feeling, the physical symptoms and sensations, the not being able to breathe, the chest beating, like, if you've ever been scared before, those feelings are real. And but my obviously those feelings are being triggered by something that I've created in my mind, that I'm
Mm-hmm.
irrationally afraid of. But it's not real. Like, it is real. And
Yeah, your
people,
brain is essentially attacking
yeah,
itself. Like,
yeah, like I said with the bear earlier, if a bear charges you or whatever, all of your energy is all of your adrenaline is focused on the threat. And when there's no
mm-hmm.
actual threat, and the threat is in your mind and your body, yeah, it just goes nuts and doesn't know what to do. And
Yeah.
if people never felt that before, it's easy for them to be like, dude, just shut up, like, stop
Yeah,
thinking
just
about it.
dismiss it completely.
Those same people, I say this often, that they're sort of against therapy, and they think it doesn't help and it's all stupid. But I say this all the time, that therapy really is just trying to rationalize your irrational thoughts and emotion. And
Yeah.
that's what you would sort of want anyways, But yeah, people don't understand, for sure.
Mm. It's much better to, if a person cares for you, if they love you, if they what is
My cat and dog are chasing each other. No problem.
oh um but yeah, like if a person cares for you, they love you, they want to be in your life and they want to see you doing well, then they will take the time to understand. They will take the time to try and help. Like, I'm the friends that I have in my life now, they don't meet me with judgment or frustration for themselves. And that's what's really important, was that I was surrounded with people that were just not good for me at all. They weren't good for my progress, they weren't good for my health in general. And you know as I said, like, I would never have judged them if they had like a physical condition, like if one of them lost their legs, or and suddenly, like, they couldn't go to certain places because of that, or if they had this irrational fear of like doors or something like that. I would go out of my way to help them. And if someone doesn't do that for you, then, like, why would you want that person in your life? But you have to be open and honest about your struggle, and try to do your best to explain it. And for me, whenever, like, I've tried to explain it, I'm like, it's kind of like being on house arrest. You have this tag, and instead of the police coming to get you, it's the panic attack that's going to come and get you. And you would explain the the panic attack. And I feel that it's like every person will have at least one panic attack in their life. They'll experience that, but you have to, like, really really intensify that in your mind, because it's a panic disorder. It's something's actually not 100%. You're not, you know you're it's not the way that it would manifest to the average person. Like, it's an actual problem. And if I would describe that to someone, and they would just look at me with a completely confused expression and be like, "Oh, just deal with it." Like, I have no interest in giving that person any of my time, and being friends with that person. you know and if I was in a relationship with someone like that, that was like, "Oh, you're just not what I'm like, you're just a burden, and you're not doing anything or whatever else," like, that's not helpful to be around. you know I'm with people that tell me that they're proud of me. I'm with people that that try their best to understand. You know, my family are way much more understanding than they were before. You know, I have my dad, my boyfriend, my two best friends. You know, and I wouldn't keep them in my life now if they were just like, oh, just go out. It's not that difficult. You know.
Yeah, I think it's helped me like relate to all sorts of people. You know, there are a lot of people that have plenty of triggers for plenty of different things. Not even anxiety, depression, and anger, and random things set off random people in different directions. And I know that I'm rationally afraid of being in a car, being too afraid of going places. It's helped me instead of dismiss people that come to me with something that seems ridiculous, and all of these
Mhm.
things do seem ridiculous to people that haven't not experienced them. But it's helped me relate to those people and try to be more understanding and patient with them and try to hear them out. And
Yeah.
it's hard because when you talk to people, especially people like us, about hey, maybe you should try to push yourself a little further or go a little farther, that topic in itself, maybe you should go see the doctor or whatever, those thoughts, even the thoughts of facing the fear, can become triggering and set us into a spiral. So it's hard to approach certain situations, especially if the problem itself is triggering to even mention it. But
Mhm.
if you were to be in a situation where you're talking to someone like me or Chelsea about their anxiety, or trying to help them, you have to approach it in a calm, um, non-judgy, non-angrily way. And potentially you bring something up, and you trigger something and you make them afraid, but don't get mad at them. Like, obviously
No.
you want them to be better, you want them to break through and push this, but patience is key. And if you try to help them and encourage them, make sure when you know potentially trigger them, that you don't add to it by, getting
Mhm.
mad at them or yelling at them. Just be like, you know what, I see that you're feeling this right now. It's okay. We don't have to talk about it right now, but it's just something I want you to think about. Like, we
Mhm.
can start one step at a time. We can walk out our door. Um, if we can only get 1 foot, then that's what we got to do. We go back to the safe place. There's no time limit, there's no judging. Obviously, if we spend our entire lives or years in this situation, it is a miserable existence for all involved. But
Mhm.
we need to not think of the whole picture. Like, we can't think of the years we've spent in misery. We can't think of, um, where exactly we want to be. Obviously, you look at where you wish you could be, but when you're trying to
Mhm.
face the goal, you can't think of 5 miles away. You got to think of what's right in front of you. I can get across the street. I can get, a few blocks, or however far you can get. You need to think about
Mhm.
slow improvements of, like, I walked across the street yesterday. I felt safe here. Maybe I can take a few steps forward. All right, I'm starting to feel anxious. I'll try again. Like, but to think of, you know, all of the distance and just being better, and thinking of all the world, because the world's scary, especially to us. And, like, I don't know, you just have to approach it in a very understanding and patient and kind way. And it obviously it's hard, because as much as I like to say to people that I'm talking to about anxiety that you're not a burden, your life matters. You're important,
Mhm.
and existence, thinking, feelings, it's all a sensitive thing. Your brain can go out of whack, and you can end up in the loony bin, or you can end up agoraphobic like us. It's obviously it affects us and our loved ones negatively, but you can't approach it in a way of negative. You have to try to approach it in a way of positive, safe, understanding, and encouraging.
Mhm. As you said, like patience, not judging, and also I think something. that really changed for me is that I'm surrounded by people who are frustrated for me and not at me,
It's good.
because it is it's such a frustrating thing, and you really get angry at yourself a lot, or angry at the situation. But it's about, as you said, like approaching it in a encouraging way, rather than being like, I don't want you in my life anymore if you don't do this. It's about like, think about how better things are going to be when you're able to do this, and we're going to do it together. It's you really have to be patient and understanding, and just honest as well, I suppose.
I just had a visual in my mind of someone that you can physically see something wrong with them. I like pretend you're pushing someone in a wheelchair and there's steps in your way, and to get to where
Mm.
you need to go you have to go all the way around. You got to go up this big ramp and it's really annoying. In that moment you're not gonna fucking yell at the dude in the wheelchair, God, you just suck, and I have to freaking push you all the way around. Trust me, that guy
Mm.
knows and is already feeling it. You don't need
Mm.
to add to it, and it would probably be damaging if you did. You're not helping anything by being negative, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's like if someone doesn't have an arm, you're not gonna tell them to grow an arm,
Yeah, you just
you know?
suck. God, this affects me so much that you don't have an arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, the people in my life before, they were very selfish about it, and just being like, oh, I'm like, I've been in this friendship for like 2 years, and whatever. Like, no, shut up. I've been doing it longer. That's why it's so good to have good people around, that obviously they're frustrated for themselves, and the situation, but they're frustrated for you as well. But ultimately they want to see you do good, and they want to help, and they want better for you and everyone. That's what matters, is like, it's not just about that person that doesn't understand because they have a fully functioning mind and body.
I think I just had a random thought, but I, when comparing to other people, I try not to, because
Mm.
I mean, obviously I can't help myself. I think thoughts when I see things or hear things, but there's a lot of people, although I have probably been, you know, having anxiety or have agoraphobia for longer, there's a lot of people within even our chat that we talk to that are worse off than me.
Mm.
Like, I at least know what's happening to me. I know that it's
Mm.
anxiety. I know, but knowing's half the battle. It's that's the starting point, and some people that we talk to aren't even at that point yet. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I try not to think anyone has it worse or better. I don't know where I was going with that. Brain fog, lost it.
No, but I mean, I've seen a lot of people that don't want to fix it.
Yeah.
That this is just the way it is for them. Um, and that's kind of strange as well for me to see that, because I am so determined to get back out, and it's there are so many people that, even just like looking at what the trigger was for them, like what started it all. It's also different for everyone.
Yeah. Well, someone may talk to us and their trigger seems ridiculous. As I said before,
Mm.
my thoughts are also ridiculous, but even more so ridiculous. Um, there's something else going on there. I like to think that I have a pretty alright head on my shoulders. If I were to add other disorders or other mental barriers, this would be so much worse.
Mm.
I can only imagine, um, you know, having, especially, um, having something actual to be afraid of. Because really, with me, it's literally all my thoughts, and I know that. But
Mm.
if, like, I were to get sick, or if there was something actually wrong with me, that would just be, I don't know. Like, I don't think I could handle it. That's why I know that death is inevitable, that one day I'm going to get old, maybe I'll get hit by a car. The moment I face my anxiety, I have no idea how it will end. Um, but I know that I will have to face it for real. Like, I feel like this is just, I don't know, a practice match. And that might sound less, especially since I've been dealing with this for 6 years. And, if I were to beat it, it would feel amazing. And for to call that like a practice match, but it really is. Like, it's not actual death that I'm facing. I just think that it is.
Mm.
Um, yeah. I don't know if you had anything to add to that. Well, I have a list here of our subjects, but I think we've covered relationships pretty good.
Yeah,
Um, so
we got good ones basically.
yeah, we got some good relationships, and we don't fuck around with bad people, or people that
Yeah.
are not understanding, and you shouldn't either if you're listening. Um, so we're in this group together. Um,
Yeah, that's how we met.
yeah. Well, I mean, I invited you. I think I invited you, right?
Well, we met in another group.
Right. The one of the pages. But we're in this
Yeah.
group chat together. Um,
Hell yeah.
I hate being alone. Like when my wife goes somewhere and I can't go to my mom's, or I'm stuck by myself, I lose my shit, and
Mhm.
I feel like I'm gonna die. No one's here to save me or call an ambulance. I'm just screwed. And
Mhm.
talking to the people in the chat, it's really helped me. It's helped me to realize that everyone in there feels pretty much exactly like I do. And
Mhm.
that, I go in there saying I'm not alone, and people always respond and say, no, you're not. And it's true.
Yeah.
Like, they're there with me, and, they might not be there physically, but they are there in my mind. I'm reading their thoughts. Their thoughts are focused on me, and mine is on them. And, we're together in another plane of existence, kind of, but we're still together. And, it feels good to have like a little family in there.
Yeah. It's been really beneficial for me. I can have a hard time going to sleep and knowing that I can just message in the chat. And especially considering like it's people from all different time zones as well. It's really been beneficial, especially when I'm in by myself like you. I struggle with that, and knowing that there's people there that will take you seriously and that understand, maybe they go through the same symptoms as you, or they can just like help distract you. As I said, like people that take you seriously, it's really important. And that group chat has definitely helped, and in a positive way.
It's definitely humbled me as well. Like, people come in there with crazy, like, a few people in there had tornado warnings. I'm like, dude, if I had that, oh my, like, I don't know. It makes me feel like my fears are not as scary as I really think they are, because there are some people out there that are going through some way crazier shit than I am at the moment.
Yeah, and it also, it's like you'll read someone's fear and you'll be like, "Wow, that's such a strange thing to be scared of." But then you're like, "Oh wait, I can't leave my house." So it's like
Yeah.
you kind of get to see other people's things, and it does make you feel not alone. And I've said before, like even someone that doesn't deal with anxiety or deal with mental health issues, everyone's got something going on. Everything's got something, whether it's embarrassing or it's a fear or just something that's not going to be understood by a lot of other people. Everyone's got something, but to be with people that you can relate to as well, it's really important. But yeah, you have to also kind of be careful. Obviously, you run that group, so you can keep an eye on things. But um, yeah, there's some people that that they're not so helpful.
Yeah, I mean, you said just now that some people in there have thoughts that you would consider to be, or fears you would consider to be, well, why the heck are you afraid of that? And, that's sort of letting you understand that people that don't have anxiety, like people that aren't afraid of what you're afraid of, they cannot understand you, because even you who has anxiety and me sometimes look at the things people are afraid of and be like, what? Like, that doesn't even make
Mm,
sense. And um, yeah, that's why I try as hard as it can be to understand, all the irrational fears that people talk
yeah,
about. I really
yeah. Like
do
I
try
don't,
to
yeah,
understand.
I don't judge. You
No,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you
I
can't
don't
help
think.
it. You can't help it. It's in
Yeah,
your mind, but you're not like mean about it. You still try to help them.
yeah, and it's even sometimes it's like also gives you the you're able to help other people as well, and to have that as a purpose is a great thing. I've always really liked to help people or give advice or anything, you know.
I posted a
And
meme on this
there's
group page.
there's been a lot of times. What?
You might have glitched out there for a second, and then I think I also cut you off.
Oh no, what happened?
It was only for a second.
Oh, I can't even remember what I said.
Well, I thought you stopped talking because it glitched, but I was saying that I put a meme of Patrick on this group or whatever, that like he's like a scientist when he's solving other people's problems, but when he's trying to solve himself, he's
Oh, that's literally what I was saying as well.
yeah,
Yeah, as it's like you give other people advice, but you don't take your own.
right. It's hard because you can see you're more zoomed out when you're looking at someone else. You're not actually affected, but when you think about your own fear, your anxiety creeps up and you're like, shit, like I can't do that. But that doesn't happen when it's someone else. So sometimes it's definitely a lot easier to help someone else than it is to help you.
And also, like you want to show people that they can also do it as well,
Yeah.
which is like a big motivate. I mean, someone literally messaged me. It was on another group saying that I was a motivation for them and that they had tried to do something because of me, and like that that feeling, like I can't describe it. That was another big thing for me to like keep going and not get too in my head when I don't do something. So you also do it for the other people that are struggling, so that they can be like, okay, well, they deal with the same thing that I do, and yet I'm doing better than them.
Yeah, I think.
No, not that I'm doing better than them. Sorry, I just got distracted. I'm doing better for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I went to the store the other day in the park, a part of me was like, I get to take a picture and send this to my group. Like I want I want them to be. Um, I'm excited that I don't know how to say it. Um, they push me to push myself, and I think if we all do that, we can all sort of motivate each other that way.
Yeah, it's like when I had sent a picture of me down sitting at the benches, and I was like, I need to send this to my anxiety group.
Yeah,
It is that thing of like, it's not any part of you that's like bragging or something. It's like you're excited to show them, and you also know that it's gonna be, whenever you see anyone posting about the fact that they have faced their fears, it's like everyone's in the comments being like, this is such a motivation, this is inspiring, because we can all get wrapped up in complaining or just feeling bad, but once you see a person that's in your situation doing better, you want to be that person as well. You want to be that person that's making others feel better, and you know it's just a circle of of goodness, basically.
Yeah, I don't think, when I go to the store or I'm trying to like show a picture that I'm bragging, like you said. I think it's
Hmm.
just, you know, we all have this connection of um, being afraid to face our fears, and when I see someone else, as you said, do it and post in the chat or whatever, I get super excited and I'm so proud of them, and um,
Yeah.
like,
It gives you confidence as well. Like, okay, they can do it, I can do it.
yeah.
It's not about being like, hey, losers.
Yeah, hey losers, look at me, you guys all suck. I'm the
have
best.
have fun sitting inside, motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah, that actually, to be fair, that is why I'm doing it. So, it I just want to, brag and put everybody down. Really, that's actually what I'm trying to do. I don't really care.
Like, hey, what did you guys go? What did you guys go to today? Oh, I'm pretty sad. I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah. Anxiety, who's that? I don't know.
Guess who just got undiagnosed? Fuckers.
Undiagnosed. I'm leaving the chat, you fucking losers. I'm out. It's pretty funny. You just like, one of them in real life. You like stand outside their house, like, you can't come outside.
Hey, look what I can do, and
Yeah.
you can't.
Hey, I mean, I think I would be inspired by that if someone did that to me. I'd be like, shit.
You're like pissed off.
Yeah.
You're like, I'll fucking
Anger's
show
a
you.
good motivator too, I think.
No, if so.
Sometimes for me, not for everybody, but I think it would be funny.
Just standing outside with like a sign held up being
You
like, you can't come
suck.
here. You like try to taunt them to come out. Oh my
Or
god.
it's like, get closer so you can read it, and the fine print is like, you suck or something, but they can't see it.
Or the fine print is, oh my god, look at you, you're outside. It's like all been a ruse, you're actually really positive.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Jen just
I saw
commented,
people-
said she's going to do that in October because her daughter lives in Arizona. So she said she might come down and visit me. Now she's going to frickin' do. We're giving her ideas, Chelsea.
I guess it was just in a car ride for 4 hours. You can't relate.
Yeah. She wants to drug me and take me to castles and coasters. It's like a roller coaster place, or when there's rides and stuff. I would die. I can't do it. Sorry to disappoint.
My friend always talks about like slipping something in my drink and taking me down so that we can we can go up the dancing or something.
I feel like that'd be the only way. Well, unless I beat it.
Well, yeah, not if we are going to.
When?
Like I said, yeah. Yeah, we're fucking out here. No
Yeah.
talking about no F's.
Jen just commented, drug him and take him to the roller coaster park.
Fucking Bill Cosby.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it'll go like that, but it'll definitely
With
be
good
scary.
intentions.
Yeah. Drugging
No, I
for the
hate
greater
that.
good.
Hate that. Imagine like you wake up and it's like all your friends and family at like a
Staring at
restaurant.
you. Dude,
Yeah.
I fell asleep in first grade one time, and when I woke up, my entire class, my teacher must have got them. He gathered all of them, and when I woke up, all of their faces were like throughout my whole vision. I could see everyone's face, like filling up my sight, if that makes sense. Like they were the whole screen of my vision, but they were all staring at me, like, welcome back, like, because I fell
would've-
asleep in
no.
class. Yeah, it was
No, I've
very
never been
embarrassing.
in class. I barely showed up to class, to be fair, but
Well, it was in
if I-
elementary school, primary school
Oh.
for you.
primary school indeed.
Yeah, I went to primary school, elementary.
Why'd you get more country?
But I didn't really go to high school that much, but
No, me neither. High school was when I started to deal with all the
drugs.
mental issues. No,
Oh, that was me.
that's kind kind of me as well. I didn't do any drugs. I just smoked weed. So.
Well, back in the day, that was a drug. You know, I went to jail for that shit.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I went to rehab for pot.
Shut up! No way, you didn't mention that.
Yeah. I mean, I did in my 4-hour podcast. If you guys want to check that out, a few episodes back. But,
Link below.
yeah, link below on that one. It's a roller coaster. For sure.
No, that's crazy. Do you think the weed? A lot of people have actually
I had a panic attack.
mentioned.
Yeah, that was the last time I quit.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, a lot of people spoke about that sort of being the jump off, and obviously, like, weed does help a lot of people. But I feel like it's kind of ignored the people that it doesn't help, which is us. Like,
Yeah.
I can't even be around the smell anymore.
My wife smokes, so I'm around the smell a lot, but like, I'm really good at avoiding my fear because I've been clean for 12 years, you know?
Oh yeah.
Jen commented, I'm gonna wake him up at the top of the coaster. The roller coaster. Yeah, well, I'm gonna die then, so thanks. Thanks for that one.
Oh my god. It's like have you ever been in a car and like you've undone the seatbelt and you're getting ready to open the door like while they're driving?
Wait, what? Say that again, sorry.
course.
I spaced out.
Oh yeah, it just cut out. Um have you ever like been in the car and you start to panic and you undo the seatbelt and you're like about to
You're totally glitching right now, dude.
you don't hear me?
I can now. You said
Jump out of the car.
you said undo the seatbelt. And then I heard drop out of the car.
God damn. Hold on.
It's all good. We're doing it live, alright, guys?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up, dude?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, welcome back. It's okay. We're doing it. This is what happens when you do it live. It's alright.
Yeah, but yeah, never again.
I think it's been fun. I like reading the comments. It's cool.
I can't read the comments. What are they saying?
Well, I'm saying them out loud. No one said anything else yet so far.
Oh, that's all the comments?
Yeah, I know, right? Jesus. You guys should comment more.
Yeah, be engaged with the conversation.
Yeah, I know, right?
You should
It's
just start
supposed to be a
talking about
support
scary
group?
stuff
What?
Start talking about scary stuff and trigger people if they don't comment.
I can't think of like a normal. Everyone has the same fear. You're saying something about a seatbelt.
Oh, have you ever been in a car, started having a panic attack, and undone the seatbelt to like jump out and tuck and roll?
Yeah, I definitely prepare. Like if I'm Jen commented comment. Anyways, so yeah, I've like we get close to like where I'm going, and I'll take my seatbelt off to like make sure I get out faster because I don't want to be in the frickin' car.
Oh no, I remember I was in the car with my social worker and she told me that we were going further than what she had said. And we were like driving at the time and I undid my seatbelt and opened the door and I was getting ready to like jump out and like tuck and roll. And she was like, No, I'm only joking, but I was like, don't fucking play with me.
Dude, when I was a kid, I told my mom I didn't want to go to school, and if she took me, I would jump out of the car, and I did. Yeah,
How did it go?
I ran home. The cops got called, told me I can't do that. I didn't go to school that day, but...
Did you hurt yourself?
No. It was probably going like... It was very slow. Like, she saw me open the door, so she slowed down, and I didn't fall. I landed and ran, so it was fine. I was like...
Run you over.
I was like 9 or 10, I think. But I was really close to my house.
I would have definitely reversed and ran you over.
Jen said tuck and roll. Jen, ask us a freaking question, huh, guys? I'm just kidding. You don't have to do anything. I'm just happy you're here.
the internal battle there that we
Yeah.
just witnessed.
Well, I just, I gotta cover all my bases. I want her to ask a question, but I don't want to be controlling, Now I'm covered from every angle. Unless she doesn't ask a question, but, whatever. Anyways, so I have another topic here. All right, Jen just said no pressure or anything, jerks. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to. It's just gonna be in the frickin' episode. Know what I'm saying, Dad? But I wrote down another topic. Well, actually, you wrote down. Do you have any goals? Obviously, you have goals, but what are they?
So my goal is to go down to the benches with my boyfriend and sit for a while, have something to eat, you know. My
What are you
other
gonna
goals
have?
is to, I don't know, maybe sandwiches.
Sandwiches.
Sandwiches. I'd also like to start working on going back down towards the park. I sort of did that a little bit today, like actually walking down. I sent you the video, so it's only a couple more steps. Um, let's see if we can do that. But yeah, that's my goals. Obviously, my main goal is to get down to the main street of where I live because that's where the like coffee places and restaurants are. So, I live in a village, but luckily we do have some things we can actually do. So I'd like to do that soon.
You guys have a
What
movie
about
theater
yourself?
in your village?
No.
No, it's like a real village. Shit.
Yeah, but not
What?
got like supermarkets, or you guys would call them malls. I'm gonna go to the mall.
Gonna go to the mall.
I'm gonna go to the mall.
Um,
What's your goals?
so I've noticed when I go somewhere, like if I'm pushing myself to the point or whatever, if I sit down where I am, like my barrier, like I feel safe here but not there. If I can sit
Mm-hmm.
down in a area where, it's not necessarily super safe, but it is still kind of pushing myself, I sit
Mm-hmm.
there and I look at the ground. Maybe I'll look at a bug, walking by, or, not walking by, but, just notice walking by. He's going fast. No, but just like notice what's around me, try to make peace with where I am, listen to the
Yeah.
birds, look at the grass. Maybe I'll even move a rock or whatever's around me. Just like get really comfortable where I am, and that now is familiar and safe, and the next time I go there, I'm now safe here, and I can feel okay. I think you should try to do that too, where you think your boundary is. Sit down and make yourself familiar with the area and be at peace with the ground and where you are, and know that you're safe, and hopefully that can help you. Yeah. I don't know what you think
Yeah.
about that. I mean, I'll share my
Yeah,
goals too,
no,
but
that's 100%. Like, I don't usually sit down anywhere, and like I
you
said, like
should.
I don't,
Screw it.
yeah, yeah, like I don't care about like who's watching or anything. I would sit on the ground. I've done it many a times, so yeah, I'm gonna give that a shot. But
Give it a
yeah,
go.
what's your goals? Gonna take your girl out to a restaurant,
Yep,
show her a
and
good
tell you what,
time.
I'm gonna go to the movies, and no, I mean my goal is to have a house with a picket fence and my
Oh,
dog.
wait, you're talking about big life goals here?
I mean, I'll say all my goals, if you, but yeah, that's my goal, and to have a car and a job, and just to be happy, and do help as many people as I possibly can. My What's my first goal in pursuit of that? I guess would be to continue to, go to the park, go to the store, try to feel comfortable going out in general, and
Mm.
that's where I'm gonna be um, working on right now. Or, yeah.
That sounds good. You got any other exposure plans?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna go to the park as soon as it's not hot. I was gonna go this morning, but I think I woke up too late. I potentially will go when it gets a little dark, because it's really hot here. But that's probably the
Mm.
next thing I'll do is either go to the park or maybe go to my mom's. I have another thing written here. What do you appreciate? Things you appreciate, or maybe have learned to appreciate since this has happened to you.
Wow, that's a really great question that has come from an excellent mind.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
I did not write that one. I'll be honest.
No, I think in general I'm more grateful. Um, I feel like I'm more grateful for all of the opportunities. I appreciate freedom a lot more.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Chelsea?
Hello? Yeah, you like went all funny.
Um,
What?
sorry, I missed the last thing you said.
Oh, I said I'm more appreciative of freedom and what it means.
That happened to me when I was in jail. Um,
Wait, you went to jail? Oh, yeah, you just said that.
yeah. It's like I keep saying the same thing, and you just keep going like, "No way!" Like,
Whoa!
no, but like going to jail and then getting out, best feeling in the world. So much freedom, and you appreciate it. So yeah, I do think we learn
How
to.
long were you in for?
Um, I was there for a month, and then a rehab for 4 months. Um,
Wow, 15 years? That's insane.
um,
I was cutting out again. Huh.
no, it's good. Yeah, I think with agoraphobia or just anxiety in general, it's made me appreciate definitely not being afraid, but just what it would be like to be a normal person. Like, normal for
Yeah.
me would be like paradise, like heaven. Like, I could go somewhere and like go eat or go do something fun or go see something awesome. Um, like, obviously, I see a lot of things through, you know, the internet and my screen, but to go experience just even the most normal things would be out of this
Yeah,
world to me. So like,
absolutely.
so if you could imagine what would be out of this world to a normal person, well, that would be like freaking heaven to someone like me. Um,
Mm.
we have a couple comments here. Let me read them real quick. Jen said, "Y'all are awesome. Today my goal is to nap and regroup. Anxiety kicked my butt this morning." Well, that's a good goal. You got to start somewhere.
What
Um,
was that said earlier on? A rough morning can lead to a good afternoon.
that's right. Yeah, she said she hasn't been doing that good sleep wise. I think that's a good idea. Sometimes, I mean, especially with anxiety, if it becomes overwhelming, all I want to do is sleep. I don't want to experience
Yeah,
it. So,
it's exhausting. It really
yeah.
is.
So, hopefully, yeah, you can get that reset, come back, kick some ass. Know what I'm saying? My wife commented as well. She said, if you could be any animal, what would it be and why? Hmm. That's a hard question. If you have the answer, go ahead and say it, because I'm actually thinking about this one.
Hmm. You know what's so annoying about my brain? My brain was like, "No, don't answer it, because then you might transform into it."
Well, that's definitely not gonna happen. But if you did, at
um.
least you wouldn't be agoraphobic anymore. Maybe you could fly away like a bird or something.
Oh, there you go. I was thinking like, birds have a lot of
I was
freedom.
thinking bird too, but I'm afraid of heights. But maybe I wouldn't be. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you can be a ground bird.
Yeah. What's the point of being a bird then? No. Jen said she'd be a
um,
phoenix.
a phoenix.
Like,
Wow.
would that phoenix be magical and come back to life over and over? Because I think I see where you're going there. Yep. She said they rise from the ashes. She wants to live forever. I kind of do too. Um, I don't know. If we can go magical too, man, maybe I should be a dragon.
I was gonna say a dragon.
But
Fuck.
in all honesty, this is probably the most boring answer, but I kind of like being a human. Because I think if I were to become a bird, then I would have like a bird brain, and I don't know.
Yeah, I watched a pigeon outside bully another pigeon the other morning, and that was another experience that made me think maybe being indoors is better. There was a hawk that attacked a bunch of baby birds in my fucking hedge. That was intense.
Damn. Dude, I
I don't know.
saw. No,
I
go
think
ahead.
human as well, you know, because like I think about like what my favorite animals are, and it's like I
That's
love
not a
my
good
dog
life.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I love my dog so much, but
But he
like
can't have McDonald's, and you can.
yeah, I mean I can't even have McDonald's. It's like an hour away from where I live.
You get your boyfriend to train that shit over to your house.
He did that for me on Valentine's Day. He brought me up a cheeseburger from McDonald's, and I honestly could have started sobbing. So good.
That's awesome. I probably would too, to be honest, if I hadn't had it in that long.
Mm.
I have a weird story about a bird. Since we've been talking about birds, I was walking to the store, and this is a trigger warning, guys. But I was
I was
walking to
about
this.
to say don't lie, but then okay.
Yeah, trigger warning. Skip 10 seconds or so. But anyways, I was walking across the street, and there was a bird that was walking behind a parked car, and the car moved, and all I heard was crunch, crunch,
No.
and then it like spun in a circle, like flapping, like what a fish would do if it was
Oh
out
my
of
god,
water, and
stop!
then it just like stopped, and I was like, oh my god, it was really brutal. Sorry, trigger warning, guys.
Oh no!
It was a pigeon, if that helps. People don't like pigeons. I don't know.
I don't like to think about any animal dying. Yesterday, have you ever seen A Dog's Purpose?
No, no.
I had no idea what that movie was, and it was on in the living room.
Are you about to
And
spoil the movie for everybody?
yeah, fuck yeah, I'm about to spoil it. The fucking
Spoilers.
the dog passes away. It's like the whole thing is like the dog gets reincarnated, but that's all I seen, and I was just sobbing. Oh, it was horrid. I can't cope with that. No. Dead animals for some reason.
So
I can't.
I have one more topic here, and I just want to announce for our one viewer, if you have any questions, now's the freaking time. But, well, no, we've had a few viewers come and go. But anyways, the last word written here is hopes. So, Chelsea, do you have any hope for the future? Is there anything that keeps you?
I just said no.
Did you say nope? It's all bleak going down the hill from here.
I'm.
Hey,
My
your
dog is
puppy is
barking.
cheering you on. She's like,
Yeah,
tell them about the hope.
My dog just my dad just walked up to the window and like gave us a fright. Jesus, he's supposed to be my safe person.
Well, you just gotta keep you on your toes, you know.
I am definitely feeling more hopeful today because I went out of my comfort zone. I did those things. I didn't run. I went out today and it was successful. And I feel like when you have those, I mean, think about it this way: the only way that you have those success moments, so the only time that you feel proud of yourself is when you go out and face your fear and you do it. And you have to have hope to do all that stuff. You're gonna hope that it's not gonna be bad. You hope that you're gonna be okay. And if I didn't have hope to push me, I wouldn't have done all that today. And I am proud of myself for it. So I hope to continue on strong and keep the strength and motivation that I currently have.
So I mentioned this earlier in the podcast that I taught you about that, squeezing your fist thing. And this morning I woke up to you walking outside and squeezing your fist, and I just thought that was so powerful. And another topic that I skipped over during this, which sort of gives me a little bit of hope, is that I'm gonna try to make a movie about my anxiety, and I'm very passionate about this movie. Like I haven't written anything down, but I know the idea, and the idea is that there's a demon inside me that I consider to be death, and in reality it's just me, and that I'm going to have to fight the fight of my life, and in order to actually film that movie, I'm actually going to have to beat my anxiety, because I'm going to have to go places and actually film things. So what gives me hope is knowing that I've done it before, I can do it again, and that I have great motivation throughout my personal relationships, the people I love, and just where I want to go and what I want to be with my life. That I mean, someone told me a long time ago that all of this, in theory, I don't know if that's the right word, is it's the hero and the dragon, and you have to fight your dragon and get the gold, and you have to become a hero. And I really do think that all these fears that we feel in ourselves, hate and depression, all the negative thoughts that we have, that love is the most powerful thing in the world, and with that comes courage and hope. And I do think if we start to focus on that part of ourselves, the part of ourselves that wants to win and be the hero, and to make our lives better, and for us and everyone we love, that if we can focus on the hope and the love, that we will break through and win in the end. Jen is asking if we can end my movie at Castles and Coasters. Well, I mean, if the movie's successful and I'm actually beating it, then that would be an awesome idea. And yeah, fingers crossed on that one.
Full circle moment.
Yeah. Chelsea, I have no more thoughts. If you say something, then no, I mean, if you say
I am completely brain dead.
I mean, I'm not. I currently don't have any thoughts. I mean, I'm looking at my Coca-Cola that's in front of me. I could talk about that if you want, but I don't have anything more to say. If you do, then I probably will, but choice is yours. I don't know if you have anything left. It's up to you.
No, I think we spoke about everything that we wanted to speak about. So,
all right, friends. Well, if you're listening to this, I said it before, and I'll say it again. If you need help, if you're having anxiety, depressed, whatever, I don't do anything. I mean, I need to try to do stuff, but like, I'm never busy, and you'll never be a bother. Like, I really don't get upset. So if you need someone to talk to, if you're not already in our anxiety group and you have anxiety, our chat, this is the group. But if you need extra support or people to talk to, I have access to a large anxiety group that everyone's sort of there for each other. Chelsea's in it, and if you need support or help or someone to talk to, we're there for you, because in reality, it's the only thing that makes us feel good, because we don't do anything. So you'd be helping us. So if that's it for you, Chelsea, that's it for me.
Yep.
Yep. All right, guys.
Yep.
Yep. Well, it was.
See you later.
See you guys later.